And you seem pretty familiar with him because he doesn't really hide his association with this real wild plot that involves, drinking the blood of children and things like that.
No, he doesn't hide it at all. And you have a lot of people who are in this world of QAnon who say, oh, they don't know what that is. They've never heard of it. They're just asking questions. With somebody like Jim Caviezel, he is openly embracing it. He's openly using its catchphrases and its concepts. He's speaking at QAnon conventions. And this film is being marketed to either specific QAnon believers or to people who believe all of the same tenets as QAnon, but claim they don't know what it is.
And The Sound of Freedom does focus on a real issue of sex trafficking. But that theme, it's sort of like that kernel of truth that feeds the QAnon conspiracy theory. Tell us how those two things work together.
Sure. And the most durable and the most believable conspiracy theories are not entirely false. There's something in them that is true and the rest of it is false. But the believers point to the one true thing and they say, oh, you don't believe that this particular thing is true. In terms of child trafficking, we know trafficking is real. We know it has real victims. No one is denying that. But these films are created out of moral panics. They're created out of bogus statistics. They're created out of fear. And with something like Sound of Freedom, it specifically is looking at QAnon concepts of these child trafficking rings that are run by the high-level elites, and only people like Tim Ballard and only people like Jim Caviezel, and by extension, only people like the ticket buyer can help bring these trafficking rings down. So there's a very participatory element. You're not just going to see a movie, you're just killing 2 hours on a hot day. You are helping bring down these pedophile rings and save children. Now, it's not true, but it's a very comforting and it's a very warm feeling to have.
Okay, guys, so for today's video, I want to talk about The Sound of Freedom. This movie's been, big in the media right now, had a lot of coverage, especially when it first came out on the July 4 weekend. I personally got to watch it. I think it's a fantastic movie. It was done really well. However, as you saw in the first clip, and some of these articles that were coming out as soon as it was kind of released, kind of started painting it as a QAnon thing and trying to tie it into conspiracy theories and this and that. When a lot of what is being portrayed in the movie is real life situations, especially for the person portrayed in the movie, Tim Ballard, who was part of Homeland Security and has been doing these kinds of operations for over almost, I think, 20 years, 18 to 20 years, I think he said. And just a mere 8 years ago, CBS covered Tim Ballard and what he does in a positive light. There was no mention of QAnon. Here, take a look.
Last weekend, police broke up a major sex trafficking ring in Colombia, which has become a destination for tourists looking for sex with boys and girls. The police had help from an American who went undercover to rescue the children, and Elaine Quijano met him.
Tim Ballard has one mission: to track down child traffickers. 4 months ago, Colombian authorities asked him to investigate a tip that children were being sold there as sex slaves.
Within a half hour, this individual walks up to me, starts asking me what I'm here for, what I want, and within minutes, he says, well, I've got kids as young as 11 years old.
And this movie was actually created 5-6 years ago, as you can see here in this clip.
Why is the media hating this movie?
I can't understand it. The film was made, produced, written like 5 years, 6 years ago, way before anyone heard the name QAnon. I still don't even know what QAnon is. In the meantime, they're trying to connect it to some conspiracy when, in fact, like you said, this is a true story. These are real kids. I mean, these kids are my friends. They're young adults now, the ones that were rescued. They're going to come out soon and tell their story. It's going to be very awkward when the mainstream media comes after these kids next and accuses them of being part of some conspiracy when, in fact, they were rescued from a life of rape. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen in the media, perhaps.
I mean, this publication says The Sound of Freedom is a superhero movie for dads with brain worms, and that it fetishizes the torture of its child victims. Is that what the movie does?
It absolutely does not do that. It tells a story based in truth. And, what I think is happening, Jesse, I think that the left and these media outlets, they don't want to have a discussion that this film is going to compel. A discussion about why 85,000 children showed up unaccompanied at the border and got released into the interior of a country that is the highest consuming country for child exploitation material on the planet. They don't want to talk about why these same publications are pushing an agenda to change the word pedophile to minor attracted persons in order to normalize sexual activity with children. I think that's what they're trying to avoid, and they know this film's going to shine a light on all of the things, all the atrocities happening to children, and so they have to discredit it by lying about it.
Now, for the past few years, Tim Ballard has been doing interviews with different groups of people. I remember, I think 3 years ago, he did one with Candace Owens. Not too long ago, he did one with Jordan Peterson. And, he's addressed some of these QAnon type theories that people keep throwing out on him. But he's recorded a majority of his operations, I think, if not all. And if he's been doing this for almost 20 years, or if 20 years, like the QAnon narrative doesn't really hold up at all. So I'm kind of confused as to why everyone's trying to push not to see this movie. There's been quite a few videos and articles going around saying like everybody who's going to the theaters and trying to watch this, there's some sort of conspiracy with that, where either the theaters aren't playing the movie correctly, or the movie's shut down and then come back on, and then shut down and come back on. The AC's not working in that particular movie theater, and a myriad of other things, like saying they have to wait half an hour before the movie starts back up, but everyone's entitled to free tickets if they want to leave now, yada yada yada. Now, as Tim has expressed, there's obviously going to be some embellishments within the video, or within the movie, I should say. And I believe on his website, he has what is factual and what is embellished straight there for you to see the differences. But you had publications like The Guardian, like Rolling Stone, coming out with these articles saying Sound of Freedom, the QAnon adjacent thriller seducing America. Or this one, The Sound of Freedom is a superhero movie for dads with brainworms. I'm not sure if me and the journalists even watched the same movie from the titles of these articles, but I believe what they're trying to get out is this gentleman here, Jim. He, I guess, has come out in the past talking about some sort of QAnon stuff and, his, I guess, conspiracy thoughts and this and that. That has nothing to do with this movie. This movie has everything to do with the real topic of human trafficking, especially child trafficking. And the fact that they're trying to suppress or even dumb down the real topic that is child trafficking and the severity of it is a little concerning to me. Now, again, as I mentioned, obviously it's a movie. There's going to be some things that are embellished. But even in a particular scene in the movie that was the main operation, I don't want to give any spoilers, but at the end of the credits, or the end of the movie, you actually see Tim's footage of that operation that was executed to save some of these children. Now, the weird part is, Rolling Stone writes this for the title about this movie. However, some people on Twitter pointed out that Rolling Stone praised Cuties, that movie about the sexualization of young girls and children, yet had a problem with this movie. And again, you can see it here, Sound of Freedom, the QAnon-tinged thriller about child trafficking. Yet here they write, thanks to a major marketing mistake, the award-winning French movie Cuties was accused of sexualizing young girls. It's actually a sensitive portrait of growing pains that deserves to be seen. Yet then again, Sound of Freedom, the low-budget film about child sex traffic, almost topped the box office on July 4th, but its star was linked to a QAnon movement. Again, these things are not related. Like, I just don't understand why you have to, even if he has these views on QAnon or these conspiracy theories, that's separate from the work that he's doing. And again, these are real life stories. Now, I believe there is a documentary coming out from the victims or the survivors, whatever you want to call it, that Tim Ballard, saved, rescued. And it'll be interesting how the media is going to start twisting their story about it, as Tim mentioned in the clip with Fox News. But hey, if you guys saw the movie, let me know what you thought about it in the comment section below. And as always, catch you on the next one. Thanks so much. So if you like that video and you want more content like that, check out this video. And as always, stay subscribed for other videos that I post. Thanks.